Hey everybody, hey everybody, hey everybody, how are you all? Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for coming here into Syracuse. I really appreciate the time that you guys had showing up here and coming here and taking part of your day to make this happen. Now, why in the world would I be here again? You guys see me here yet again? Well, for those of you who don't know, this is literally my 5th time around the state. Yes, this is, I think, number, I just got lights on me now. This is like my 5th time around the state. This is, I think, stop 59 out of 62 right now here in New York State. My 5th time full Sharpe. Why? Because it matters. That's the reason, because it matters. I'm the guy who talks the talk all the time. I'm the guy who says, local matters, local matters. Well, if local actually matters, then I've got to be able to be the guy who will go to every single county, who will show and go to every single local place. If you notice, everywhere I go, I don't go to a big event. I go to a local owned place. And what's the fee to come in? Buy something, right? Buy something. Have a local person get a little bit of cash while we run around this state. You will find other candidates who say, oh, I cross this state all the time. Yeah, they go from Republican fundraiser to Republican fundraiser to Republican fundraiser, or Democratic fundraiser, Democratic fundraiser, Democratic fundraiser. They don't go out and just meet people. And for those of you who watched me more than once do these types of events, you notice a couple of things. One, anyone can show up. And sometimes people show up, they're not my friends. Some of you seen it happen live. It does happen. I don't mind. I talk to anybody. But not just that. I do it live with no notes. So whatever you're getting from me is the same thing you're getting anytime I go any place. I don't tell one group of people something and then go behind your back and tell you something else behind their back. My feelings are the same the entire way through. They've been the same for the past 5 years, every single time. Why would I bring that up? Because people are asking me, Larry, why do you keep going? Why don't you just stop? The Republicans have thrown you off the ballot. They've made you drop tens of thousands of dollars in lawsuits. You're down to a write-in campaign. Just quit already. I get that almost every day. I'm not joking. I get that almost every day. And I don't. Because again, it matters. But Larry, this is the year that maybe Hochul could lose. This is the year. I have heard that for literally 20 years. It's been a lie for 20 years, and it's still a lie. Well, Larry, how do you know? Because of what I told you earlier. I cross this state every single year. I actually know what people are saying. I actually hear them. I know what they think. And they're not rushing out to vote Republican. They're not. There are parts of North Country, which I'm going to this weekend, which literally 1 in 6 people even bother voting. Let me say it again. 1 in 6 even bother voting. They don't get out. They don't vote. They don't care. They've given up. Every one of you in this room knows of someone who you love who has packed up and left this state. And at least half of you are considering leaving already. Yeah, you're laughing because you know it's true. And that's embarrassing. That should not be true in any state, but it is. And if you're thinking about leaving this state, do you care who the governor is? No, you're leaving. You're waiting for your elderly parent to pass away, or your kid to graduate, or for you to retire. And when those 3 things happen, you're going to pack up and you're going to leave. That's why I'm still doing this, because I don't want you to leave. I don't want to leave. And if you show up, you're telling me you don't want to leave either. New York is a beautiful, wonderful state with whatever you could imagine in it. It's just government is so oppressive, it literally breaks up families. And the answer, but Larry, we can get rid of Hochul this time. Well, the state's 3-1 Democrat to Republican. You're telling me 1/3 of Democrats in this state are going to turn and vote for the Republican. I live in New York City, home of the Democrats of this state. They don't like Zeldin. They don't. It's fact. Not because of Zeldin. Because one thing all Democrats in this state hate is Donald Trump. And at the state, you all knew it. Exactly correct. That's how it works. We all know it. It's not like it's a hidden secret. We get it. Democrats, the one thing that will get Democrats to come out and vote is Donald Trump. Democrats want Trump on the ballot every single year. People say, Larry, the Democrats want to put Trump in jail. No, they don't. They just want to keep beating him up and keep him in the press. If Donald Trump gets sick right now, there's going to be 25 Democratic doctors down there saying, don't die, don't die. I'll give you my kidney. Just don't die. Guaranteed they believe that. And you're laughing, but you know it's true. So that's why it's impossible. So what's going to happen? He's going to lose again, like in the last 20 years. And nothing's going to change unless there was a third party. You might go, Larry, you're exaggerating. You're exaggerating. Well, I'm going to give you some examples of me not exaggerating. And the biggest one, which I brought up on a live recently, is Utah. Utah is the opposite of New York. Worse, meaning they're not 3-1 Democrat like we are. They're 4-1 Republican. So the Democrats have figured out, I'm not even going to bother running a statewide candidate anymore. They don't even run a candidate anymore. I'm not joking. Can't win. Why bother? What did they do? They got behind the independent, a guy named McMullen. Some of you may remember him from 2016 and 2020. They got behind him. So the Democrats knew that in Utah, having Democrat in your line is toxic. So don't do it. Get behind an independent. Don't run a candidate. Get behind an independent. And Mike Lee, who I happen to know, full disclosure, I like Mike Lee. I know him. I hope he doesn't lose, because I do know him. However, he might actually lose. If you look now, there's a chance that he might actually lose. Wow, he won his last race by 40 points. And repeat that. He won his last race by 40 points, and he might lose because they created a coalition against the establishment. That's exactly what I was trying to achieve when I started running this campaign. I tried to get a coalition against the establishment. Larry, why didn't you run as Republican? Because if I put Republican by my name, I lose. I can lose already by myself. I've proven that. I'm already good at that. Got that down. Got that part down. And losing, I got down. Really easy. That one I got. But I wanted to be independent, libertarian, and run in the Republican primary. And the Republicans said no, and instead they sued me off the ballot. That was their response. So did I try to make a coalition? I did. Other parties didn't want to coalesce either. I tried Unite Party, Forward Party. They did not want to coalesce. I asked some of them, don't even run. Instead, get behind me instead. We'll all petition together. I was even prepared to, some of you who didn't like it, but I was prepared to give up a couple people on my slot, my 4 slots of the governor, lieutenant governor, AG, and controller. I was prepared to give up a couple of those slots to bring other parties in so we can get together and create that coalition. I know some of you were mad at me for that, but I was open to that idea. None of it will work. None of it. So now they start suing everybody off the ballot. No one else can make it. Democrats challenged the Greens, Republicans literally, and conservatives sued me in civil court. I was the only one sued in civil court to ensure that I could not be on the ballot. That's how important it was. I want you to realize something. Some of you saw this. In December of last year, before I had announced, I was polling at 6%. I hadn't announced, and I was polling at 6%. Who else could do that? Who's not like a celebrity, like, I don't know, Kanye could, I guess. I don't know, it's Kanye, whatever. He's in the news now. Maybe he could. But who else could do that? That's what they saw. And in my silly view, I thought, oh, good. They see that I can do something now. They'll get behind me and we'll do the thing I'm talking about, and we'll actually beat the establishment, and we'll beat Kathy Hochul. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. Instead, they went against me, threw me off the ballot, and now I'm not on the ballot, and guess what? I still poll at over 3%. I'm not on the ballot, and I poll at over 3%. This is still important for us. Why? Because the years after this election, we're still going to be here. At least I hope most of us will. I hope most of us aren't going to be leaving. What does that mean? If we don't start changing this state, it's just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse. Any single party state is going to fail, whether that's Utah being Republican or whether it's New York being Democrat. A single party democracy is not a democracy, right? That's not a democracy. right? That's North Korea or something, right? They vote in North Korea, right? I guess is what we have now. Our vote that means nothing. Why do I want this 130,000 votes? If we get 130,000 write-in votes, it will shock this state. How will we know? On election night, we will simply count the percentages. If there's 3 or 4% out there, 2, 3 or 4% out there, that is not from those two, that's us. That's how we'll know. That'll be us. That's how we'll know. If it's 51-49, we didn't do a good job. If it's 51-46, we killed it. That's how we'll know. That is how we will know if we've done it. Once that happens, here's what happens. If those guys remember this, in 2018, when we got ballot access last time, I crossed this state again, and we had 107 victories in the local level. I know some of you are all about local, and you're right. And you're right. Local is critically important, but we can't get local if we don't get ballot access at the governor level. So we had 107 victories in 2019. Then they took away our ballot access, took away our party. Yes, they took it away. We sued, the courts didn't care. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. We'll get our ballot access and we'll run again. And we won't have 107, we'll have 214 victories next year. Woo! Yes, we'll have more. And then we'll have more in 2024 and more in 2025. And if I'm crazy enough to do this again in 2026, we'll actually win this damn thing. Then we'll actually win this damn thing. They might say, Larry, are you telling me I gotta wait 4 years for this? I am not. Because if we start having local victories next year, we will soon change the local level, which will begin to bleed up. Right? You'll see the change already. It'll start to bleed up. Because here's the reality. Does the average legislator, does the average politician candidate in this state care about you? No. No, not at all. Nope, not at all. They don't. I'm shocked how many I've met who actively hate you. I'm shocked how many. You're in the way. They got money to make. You're in the way. They got grift in the grift. And now you want to care about like your rights and stuff. I got grifting to do, right? They're in their way. But what they care about is their power. And the point that I brought up so much, why anybody, whether you're libertarian or not, why you should care about a third party, is if we have a strong libertarian party, we will have better Democrats and better Republicans. Yes. Because what will happen is this, even if we have 10% libertarian in the area, and by the way, when I ran last time in Steuben County, I got 9% of the vote. Woo! Yes. In a county like that where 10%, 11% can become libertarian, those Democrats will actually have to care about civil liberties and not just talk about them. Republicans will actually have to care about the Second Amendment, not just talk about it. Republicans will have to care about small business and lower taxes and not just talk about it. Because if there's a libertarian presence there, that will push them or we will take their votes. They won't do it because they care about you, because they don't. They'll do it because they know you'll have an alternative. And that's why they sued us off the ballot, to make sure you don't have an alternative. I would ask you to fix this state. What is Republicans' policy? Anybody know?
Kathy bad.
Kathy bad. That is correct. Hochul bad. They've been saying Democrats bad for 20 years. Doesn't work. What is the Democrats' answer?
Trump.
Trump bad.
Trump bad.
And you get money, and you get money, and you get money. That's the Democrats' answer. Everybody gets money. Throw money at everything. That's their answer. We actually have answers. But the problem is if we're not on the ballot, the problem is if we're not talking about it, if we're not now in debates, nobody hears them. Most of the people in this room came to our party because you heard somebody say something that made sense.
Very Sharpe.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Whether it was me, whether it was Gary Johnson, whether it was Ron Paul, it was somebody said something that made sense. You went, man, that made some sense. Who are these librarians? I mean, libertarians. Who are these guys? I don't know who they are. I mean, wow. And then you came in and started seeing what we're doing. If we can't get back in the spotlight again, we can't draw more people to us. That's why I keep doing this. This does matter. Yes, I'm getting my butt kicked. It's true. Yes. Yes, I get yelled at online. Yes, it's true. Yes, my family thinks I'm crazy, and they're correct. But it doesn't matter. Because right now I would say, if I don't do this, who else will? Everyone else has quit. Everyone else has walked away. Someone's got to keep doing this. What am I asking you to do? I'm asking you to help out too, with a couple of important things. Number one, please, November 8th, show up and write in Larry Sharpe on your ballot. Please do that. Number one, show up on that date and write that name in. Number two, bring somebody with you to do the same, right? Whether that's your spouse, your friend, your enemy, I don't care, your teacher, I don't care who it is, right? Whoever it is, bring somebody with you to also write that name in. If you have the ability to create a stamp, you can create a stamp. I wish we were able to raise enough money to purchase the stamps. We couldn't raise enough money to do it. We've done other things instead. So if you can create a stamp, it's a good idea. Why? You can take a stamp in, it's New York State law, you can do it, and you can stamp. Why does that matter? Because people will see you stamp, and they will wonder why you're stamping. Now, to be very clear, do not break the law. Do not tell them to vote for Larry Sharpe. That's electioneering. Please do not do that. But if you want to give them the stamp and say, you may use my stamp if you want to, that is legal. You can do that if you want to. Just please do not electioneer. Do not break the law, get yourself in trouble. Don't tell them to vote for me. That will be electioneering. Do not do that. But if you want to hand somebody a stamp because you feel they might not write well or something, totally fine. You can do that. So the cool thing about a stamp is people see it, they notice it. Just don't tell people to vote for me in the election in the polling area. Don't do that. Don't get yourself in trouble. Now, if you want to go a couple hundred yards outside and say that, feel free to do that. That is legal. So in any case, so that's the next thing. Also, I want you to let your neighbors know. And there are a couple ways you can do that. If you can buy a sign, please buy a sign. Head over to larrysharpe.com/shop and buy a sign. There are some signs here. We have some signs here. If you can pick some signs up here, please do so if you can. If you can't afford it, you got your cash strapped, no worries. Can you make a sign? Making a sign also works. You might go, Larry, I've seen already. Signs don't work, right? They don't work. If you're a Democrat or Republican, they don't work. That's true because people are already set in their ways, Democrat or Republican. But when you're not, it legitimizes the third party candidate. So the signs do matter when it comes to third parties. So if you can make a sign or buy a sign, that's awesome. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I brought some of your signs from last election over there. If anyone wants them, all you gotta do is cover up the date.
There we go. Yes. And the signs from last time still work, guys. They're still the same sign. Please put them back up again.
You can't vote November 6th. Just saying.
But you could vote, and you can vote early if you want to. Yes, exactly. Remember, vote early, vote often. Anyway, so yes. But this other thing you can do, if you can't put out a sign, we have here lots of them, literally thousands of them, door hangers. We have door hangers. If you want to go out and canvass, I cannot tell you how important that is. If you feel comfortable knocking on someone's door, please do so. Knock on the door. Hey, have you heard the word of Larry Sharpe? Let them know I'm here. Tell them to write in and give them one of our cards. Here's a bunch of them right here. Here we go. Tons of them. We have them here. Grab them if you can. If you don't feel comfortable knocking on someone's door, just hang the door hanger on their knob and walk away with everything's appropriate. But let them know I'm out there. Let them know, because if they know we get our 130,000 votes, we will begin to change New York. And that's what really matters. So if you can do those things, that would help. The last thing is, there's probably an issue that's really important to you. Second Amendment, maybe it's lower taxes, maybe it's cannabis, maybe it's small business, maybe it's GSM rights, whatever it is. Maybe it's lockdowns, whatever thing, right? Maybe it's crypto, whatever it is, right? Whatever's your thing. Speak about our libertarian policies on that thing because you care about it. It'll be passionate, right? Don't try to talk about all the policies you've heard me speak about, all the things that you think someone else might like. Speak about the things that you care about. Whatever is hitting you, you go, you know what? That's the thing that makes sense. Talk about that because people will feel your passion. They'll understand you care, and then they can talk about whatever they want. The goal is for them to say, you know what? I think this Larry Sharpe might be a guy. Let me go on his website. Let me go on his social media and see if he makes sense. And if they like what they hear, they'll write me in. But you talk about what you're most passionate about, the thing you enjoy, whatever that thing might be. Next piece I'll bring up. If you are a Democrat and or no Democrats, and you say, wait a minute, Larry, why would Democrats want to vote for you? Here's why. The Republicans have made sure by throwing everybody else off the ballot that Kathy Hochul is probably going to win this election. And that sucks. But that's true. I know it sucks. I hate saying it. I didn't want to believe that, but that's where it is. So their person is going to win. What are you worried about? What are you worried about? Do you think that any individual, no matter who they are, in a one-party state with nobody focusing on them whatsoever, is not going to become, if not already, corrupt? Of course they will. If you're a Democrat, do you want Kathy Hochul to have no one pushing back at her? That is what's going to happen next year. If you think she was tough last year, what is going to happen in the next 4? With no one pushing back at her at all. If you're a Democrat and you want to push back at her, make her be better, write in Larry Sharpe November 8th. What if you're a Republican? I'm a Republican, Larry. This is the year for Lee Zeldin. This is the year. Okay, you've been told that lie forever. And if you still believe that lie, you have a mental disorder known as Stockholm Syndrome. That's what you have right now if you believe that. And that's fine. You can believe it if you want to. But if that's the case, that he's going to win, let me ask you a question. This is your guy, Lee Zeldin. If you're a Republican, what's he going to do when he wins? No, that's not what he says. What he says is, this is what he says. Day one, he is going to fire the DA, Alvin Bragg, in Manhattan. How does it help any of you? Nothing. He says that. Day one, I'm going to fire that guy. How does that help any of you? The only people that affects is the people in Manhattan who want him as DA. They voted for him. They want him as DA. So he's going to piss off the people in Manhattan who want him as DA and not affect you. And that's his number one day one issue. So his day one issue is, I'm going to virtue signal that I'm hard. That's his day one answer. Oh my God. Then he's going to do the executive orders. Ooh. Yes, so we're going to swap one tyrant for another. But here's the worst part. He wouldn't be a good tyrant. At least Kathy's a better tyrant. Cuomo was the best tyrant. But if you're going to be a tyrant, let's be good at it. And the problem you don't understand is, whatever executive order emergency powers you make, the assembly can cancel them after 30 days. Didn't matter with Cuomo, didn't matter with Hochul, because they run the assembly. He's not going to run the assembly. So all of his stuff gets canceled in 30 days. So he will spend the next 4 years yelling and screaming and complaining with 30-day-old executive orders that keep getting canceled as they make him look stupid, and nothing will change in this state. That's what you will get if for some magical reason he wins. Nothing. Well, Larry, what about you? Here's the difference. If I win, I would actually have a Senate that will be libertarian. Why? Enough people in the Senate would change parties to be libertarian, and we'd run the Senate by swing vote. Yeah, I've thought of this already. I've already talked to people. If I would have won, I could have actually made impact because I would have controlled the Senate. Different issue. But now I'm not looking to win. I want to win, of course. I'm looking for 130,000 votes. I'm looking to set us up locally for the next 3 years and then a big hit in 4. So that's why you get actual impact. Actual impact. But what if you're a conservative? You're going, you know what? I'm a conservative, and I'm going to vote because I'm a conservative. Good for you if you're a conservative. You're a conservative. What did the Republican Party give you? What did the Conservative Party give you twice in a row? 2 downstate non-conservatives twice in a row. I'm going to repeat that again. 2 downstate non-conservatives in 2018 and again in 2022. You're a conservative in upstate New York? Why are you supporting that party? Why would you? Where was your conservative when it came to 2018? Well, they got rid of him. His name was DiStefano. They got rid of him. Where was your conservative in 2022? His name was Astorino. They got rid of him. They got rid of your conservative. Instead, they put in Zeldin. Why'd they put in Zeldin? He had the most money for grifting. I wish I was lying. It's the truth. Why did Zeldin run? Think about this for a second. The odds are high, and they thought that last year, and it feels like it now, that the Congress, the U.S. Congress is going to go red, right? Most people think that's going to happen coming up here, right? Well, Zeldin was a tenured congressman. He could have got any, any committee he wanted. He could have grifted like there was no tomorrow. Why the hell would you run for governor in a state where you know you're going to lose? Why wouldn't you stay a congressman and go grift at the top of the level? Go there. Makes total sense, right? Why? Because he was afraid that with the redistricting back there, that he would lose his race. He was worried they would redistrict him and he'd lose his race. So he said, you know what? If I'm a grift, I can grift here at the state level instead, raise millions from all the people who I met when I was grifting in Congress for years. They'll write me big checks and I'll grift here instead, which is what he did. So he said, I'm just going to run for governor here. He raised $12 million. $12 million for a failed campaign. Where'd that money go to? All his friends. He has bought himself a job. After this is over, you will find he will either be a lobbyist or he'll be in a nice, cushy law firm someplace. He'll be just fine while we suffer. He'll be just fine while we suffer. The king of grifts. Nick Langworthy, who is Republican Party chair. He told us all 4 years ago, he's taken over the party, Republican Party, so we can beat Cuomo. He was going to win and beat the governor and beat the governor. That's what he told us all. Then as soon as what happened, a congressional seat showed up, he left, run for Congress, stabbed Carl Paladino in the back, and now he's going to become a congressman. The grift is awesome. That's what the Republican Party has become in this state. Why would you support them? If you're a conservative, here's what I hear all the time. Larry, I'm going to teach these Republicans a lesson. I'm going to vote for the Republican on the conservative line. That'll teach them. Wow, is that stupid? Oh my God, is that stupid? You've just rewarded the conservative party for being not conservative. You did. They haven't given you a conservative. In fact, I don't know if you heard recently, when it comes to two pretty important conservative pieces, the Second Amendment and abortion. Too important if you're conservative, right? If you're conservative, these two things matter to you. Lee Zeldin hasn't shown up for a vote on the Second Amendment, either in DC or here. Doesn't show up for him. Doesn't show up for him. Matters so much because he's so conservative. He can't bother to show up to vote. I'm not joking. Check it out. Not just that. Remember how he was going to be so pro-life? He was going to make a point of pro-life health inspector, all these kind of things he's going to go do. Now he's saying, oh, no. Abortion, what's that? I don't care about that. I'm not joking. He just said that because now he's afraid. So anything to win, anything to grift, anything to take your money and power. Yet my stance on the Second Amendment and abortion has never changed in 5 years. I say it all the time. I've been very clear how I can deal with the Second Amendment constantly. I was on a radio show yesterday. A guy in Long Island was talking about, gun issues. And the woman who was there was talking about poor neighborhoods. She's like, Larry, aren't you worried? The gun laws, they might get shot down, and then we're not going to have strong gun laws in New York. And I said, good. I said, good. I said, why in the world would I want that to be a case? Do you know what they use the gun laws for? She said, what? To put brown and black people in jail. Some of you don't know that. Some of you do. You're nodding your head. You know. The gun laws in New York State aren't meant to get the bad guy. No, they're not. They add 3, 4, 5, 6 Safe Act violations on top of some poor black or brown kid who's got a gun in his pocket because he's afraid. Because he lives in a crappy neighborhood that the Democrats haven't fixed in 30 years. So he fears for his life. So he buys a gun, puts it in his pocket. The cops get him. They put 6 charges on him. He gets scared. So he just, he pleads. And he does 3 years. And now he's a felon. And yes, you see it. You ask him crap if you want to. It's fine. I don't know. But that's what happens. And I told her that. And she was shocked. My stance on the Second Amendment has never changed. I would stand up for it because I always do. My stance on abortion has been the same. I do not want to outlaw abortion because outlawing abortion just punishes poor women. That's what it does. That's what it does. However, I would like less abortions. I don't like abortion. I'm anti-abortion. So how can I square that circle? Easy. You create an environment to where women will choose less abortions. Our best defense against abortion is women choosing to not have one. So thank you. If we make single and struggling mothers feel safer and more comfortable and give them more options and more choices, they will choose less abortion. And what I've said forever is, well, I will never outlaw. I don't want to punish poor women. That's not what I want to do. There will be less abortions voluntarily in New York State after 4 years of me being governor. I said that in 2018. I promised it, and I would promise it again. Never change. Whether Roe v. Wade gets codified, not codified, whatever it does not matter to me. I want women to be in better positions to not choose abortion. If we make, say again? I'm going to tell you a couple ways to do that. Number one, I would like to have over-the-counter contraception so that women have more choices in that regard. I don't know why we don't have that. Second, I would like surrogacy to be both legal and safe and simple. It is not in New York State. They just barely passed some BS law. If you're a woman and you find yourself pregnant, and maybe now it's month 2, 3, or 4, and now you're doubting what's going to happen, maybe you've broken up your relationship, maybe bad things have happened, you've lost your job and you're scared, you should be available and okay to go to some family in New York City. There are thousands of them. If you want to, and say, hey, can I be a surrogacy? Can you take my baby when it's born? You can't do that in New York State. Why not? There are thousands of families in New York State who would happily write you a check every month for you and take care of all your health care to have your baby and take your baby off your hands, so you can actually make a choice if you want to take your baby to term if you want to, and ensure your baby's going to have a good life. Up to you. And you can have a relationship with the family if you want to. Up to you. What individual consenting adults do, why would I be involved with that? Why would I be involved with that? And we should make adoption a whole lot easier. It is so expensive and difficult to adopt kids that people are going to China to get babies, Romania to get babies. Why? Right now, the state takes money from the federal government to put your kid in the system. I'm not joking. And here's what we know. If a kid goes in the system, the odds are way higher that kid is going to have problems. Way higher. I want kids with families. We do that, we will have less abortion. Now, I would ask you, what other candidate would give you an actual answer to a tough question like that? They won't. The Republican will just yell, pro-life, he'll just yell that, and he won't do anything. In fact, he won't do anything because he's probably paying his girlfriend for an abortion as we speak. So he won't do that. He will do nothing. Yes, he probably is. Sadly, how true that actually is. And if a Democrat would just go, no, abortion's awesome, they'll just do that. They won't care. Pro-women, they just do that. They won't do anything. So I hope I answer your question.
Thank you, Larry.
And what you will often hear me say is, or ask, is did I answer your question? Because sometimes I answer questions that people don't like the answer. They don't like the answer. But I give them the answer anyway. Because as I say all the time, the most important thing between me, somebody who's trying to represent you, someone who's trying to put themselves in the position of authority, the most important thing is you trust me. You can think I'm wrong. You can think I'm dumb. You can think I'm wrong on a policy. But I can't have you not trust me, which is why I'm so transparent in everything I do. I'm transparent in all these things, because you should understand that even if you think I'm wrong or off on a certain issue, that my heart's in the right space, that my thought process is the same, and that if you actually talk to me, I might change my mind. And I do. And those of you who know me for 5 years, yes, you've seen me change my mind. Because I'm not just going to be like, I'm right because I'm the left or the right. I want to say I'm right because what policies we create will do the best help for the most people. Go ahead, yes.
What about all these scary cryptos?
Oh, yes, cryptocurrency. Yes, everyone's worried about cryptocurrency. And here's what I would ask. Shouldn't you be able to trade in whatever form you want to trade? Now, some people are afraid of crypto. Great, don't use it, no worries. It should not be mandatory. If you don't like it, you like your dollars or whatever, it's all good. Do you. I say it all the time, but why would I stop somebody else? And here's the example I give all the time. When I was a kid, I had baseball cards and comics. Sadly, I lost most of them after I left for the Marine Corps. but I used to have lots of baseball cards and comics. And when I had comic books, I would often trade them, right? I'd give this comic book for that comic book. I'll give you my Spider-Man for your Hulk, or whatever I thought was appropriate, right? I'd go back and forth. Was the government involved in that? No.
Should have been.
Shh, be quiet. But yes, they were not. This was me trading with other people trading what we think is valuable, whether it's comic books or baseball cards or Beanie Babies or Pokemon cards or whatever is the cool thing of the day. You trade in what you find valuable. What's the difference between that and the cryptocurrency? If you find that cryptocurrency valuable, trade in it. As long as the other person agrees that it's valuable, trade in it. Why do I care? It doesn't matter at all. In fact, I think it's a very simple rule when it comes to crypto in New York State. We should not have a bit license at all. For those of you who know what a bit license is, no bit license. If you want to start New York State off to accepting crypto, being more crypto friendly, you want 3 separate things. You want anyone who uses crypto to simply say they are one of 3 things. They pick one of 3, or they must create separate entities to create more than one of them. 1, they decide, I am going to be a retailer, which means you can take crypto as a retailer. Every month, usually people pay sales tax. You take all the crypto you want. At the end of the month, you report it. You take the last 30 days average of any mercantile exchange New York State agrees, and you pay your sales tax based upon the last 30 days. Pay your sales tax, move on. Done. Don't touch crypto anymore. You can pay your crypto, you pay your sales tax in dollars, because I don't want the government taking crypto yet. I don't want them involved in that yet. I'm scared of them being involved. You can still pay it stuff in dollars if you want to, but using crypto all you want, I don't care. That's option 1. Option 2, I want to be a bank. Okay, great, you can be a bank, you can be a crypto bank. No worries if you want to. Loan out any way you want, as long as same ideas, you can loan out you want. No fracture banking, it's a bad idea. But whatever you want, do as you like, be a bank. All good. Or 3rd, be an investor. Just be an investor. I'm gonna buy crypto, I'll keep my crypto, and the only time I pay tax on any way, shape, or form is whenever I choose to sell my crypto. If I never sell my crypto, I never pay tax. If I sell my crypto and change into dollars, I pay tax. That's how it works. Now, is that perfect? No, it is not. Is that a beautiful step that the average New Yorker can accept to make crypto normalized in New York State? 100% yes. That is the next step to making crypto normalized in New York State. Note, again, I gave you an actual answer, an actual policy. Now, if someone goes, Larry, your policy's wrong. Great, let's talk about the policy. Versus crypto bad or bit license. By the way, the story of the bit license. Guy named Lawsky made the bit license. True story. Guy was working for the federal government, for the state government, thought, this would be a good grift. I'm not joking. He then made the bit license. He made it up himself, made it horribly complex, then quit and became a consultant to get a bit license. I'm not joking. You look it up. Guy's name is Lawsky. He literally did that. Made up a maze and then left and said, who can get to the maze? Me. I built the maze. So now you got to pay him 6 figures so he can get to the maze, and you pay the state $250,000 to have a bit license. That is exactly New York in a nutshell. Yes, exactly. So did I answer your question? Excellent, good. Any other questions or comments? Please, go ahead.
So Larry, you want people to make rubber stamps, but I priced rubber stamps, and they're like $5, and they're not going to go viral. You left something out, which I want to
tell me,
which is sample ballots with your name written in. We have made a picture of a sample ballot, and it has gone out to every person on the 10,000 long email list of the Libertarian Party with a picture of a sample ballot with Larry Sharpe for governor written in.
Oh, that's awesome.
That can be forwarded. No cost, not $5. Everybody can forward it to every one of their friends.
I like that idea. Let's do that. I like that.
Most people in this room should have it already. I've been working, I'm the secretary of the state party, I've been working with Andrew Colstein, trying to convince him to keep on hammering away at those emails and making sure you see those every week.
I love it. Yes, forward that email. You are right, thank you, yes. But if you can afford to buy a stamp, buy a stamp. But if you can't, no worries. No worries, forwarding emails cheap.
And don't just use email, send it to your Instagram friends.
Yes.
Send it to your Facebook message.
Put it on Facebook, absolutely, sure.
That people can put on their cell phone. you can take your cell phone into the election booth with you.
That's correct.
There's no law against that.
That's
right?
correct. Yes.
You can look at what's on your cell phone.
I love that.
That's as good.
I love it.
That's as good as a stamp because you've got the picture.
We got a status in the back here. What's going on here? Yes, I appreciate it. Yes.
We put on that image not just Larry Sharpe in the writing slot. We added for governor because we're a little bit concerned that because that column includes both governor and lieutenant governor, that some idiot or some asshole, excuse me, in the Board of Elections would say, "Oh, you wrote in Larry Sharpe in a column that lists both lieutenant governor and governor. How do we know which one you wanted it?"
It is possible, but there is a law right now in New York State. I forgot where it is, but it talks about the obvious intent of the voter. So I'm not running for lieutenant governor.
How do they know?
Yes, good point. So the voter randomly knew who Larry Sharpe was, but didn't know what he was running for. I guess that's possible. Yes. But yes, absolutely. If you want to write for governor, please do that. I love the idea. If you want to, go ahead. Absolutely. Yes, go ahead.
So you said you do not want to outlaw abortion.
Correct.
Okay. So can you accurately define life?
Can I define life? Yes. I guess if I remember it right. Life is, if I remember right, life is something that can reproduce. There's like four rules to life. It has to be able to reproduce. It has to be able to intake energy, expel energy, and I think move in some way. I think that's what life is, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so
why do you ask a question like that?
Based upon that description you gave,
Yep.
elderly and homeless, they wouldn't be considered life.
I don't know. But what's your point, please?
So my point is, you don't want to outlaw abortion.
Correct.
You can't convince me that it's not murder.
Ah, good. Thank you. Please just say that next time. I love that. Great. Okay. I didn't know you were going down some science road. Yes. People will often say, Larry, I'm a conservative and abortion is murder. Let's assume you're correct, that abortion is murder. I would not even try to convince you that it isn't. I'll give you another example exactly in the same situation, and that is honor killing. In the part of many parts of the world, if you're excited, thank you. In many parts of the world, somebody does, tell them, vote for me, write in Larry Sharpe. In certain parts of the world right now, if a young woman within a family is raped, that is considered shameful for the family. So the brother will, in many cases, kill the sister. Is that murder? 100% is murder. Do they believe it's murder? No. Is the person prosecuted? Not really. They let it go. Why? Because honor killing, even though it's clearly murder, culturally isn't in many parts of the world right now. So what must you do to make it actually murder? You must change the culture. Abortion is a cultural issue, not a legal issue. If you just, here's what will happen. If you just outlaw abortion, you will have more abortion. How do I know that? This was happening in New York State. I told people right now, and some of you didn't believe me. You said, Larry, you're anti-abortion. Why aren't you happy with that recent, overturning Roe? I said, because in my state, it'll turn people from pro-choice into pro-abortion. That's what will happen. And that's what's happening now. People are now proud of their abortions now. It has turned people from pro-choice into pro-abortion. And now the people who are pro-life are now seen as anti-woman. And I warn, that's what's happening. Now in New York State, it is easier to get an abortion, not harder. In fact, we in New York State now, your taxpayer dollars now, will pay for someone to come from another state into our state to have an abortion. If you want to be righteous and claim it's murder, you may, my friend. I am not concerned about that. I'm concerned about less abortions. I don't want to be righteous. I want less abortions. That's just me. And people will disagree with me. And you have every right to disagree with me. But if I just outlaw, what will happen is poor women will be punished because wealthy women will just fly to wherever they want to and they will get abortions. How do I know this to be true? That's why they recently stopped it in Ireland. Ireland used to ban abortions. They stopped. Why? Poor Irish women were being punished and wealthy Irish women were flying to the UK and getting abortions. So I'm not going to sit down here and say that you are wrong, my friend. I'm not. I'm going to tell you as a candidate in New York State, My plan will lessen abortion. Your plan will not. That's all I'm saying. So I know, again, you disagree with me. I understand that, respect that. I hope you at least understood my answer at least. Did you or no? Okay, you have something, go ahead.
So, would you say, Larry, that hypothetically, if the culture changed, because you're talking about you need to like convince people.
Correct.
Because obviously the left will say it's not murder, right?
Correct.
But if the culture did change, and let's say like most of New York in the future felt that abortion was murder, and
I wouldn't have to worry about it. The law would change on its own. I wouldn't have to worry about a thing. If culture changed, we change the law, and I wouldn't fight it.
okay, so you just culture has to change.
If culture changed, I wouldn't fight it. If culture changed it,
Okay.
right? I mean, if women don't want to have abortions, right? In my perfect world, I make abortion obsolete. Right? That's my perfect world. That women don't want to choose abortion anymore because we've supported them enough. The culture supports women. The culture doesn't punish them so that they go, oh, I'm not going to have a baby. Life is good. I'm happy. Great. Awesome. I would never want to have one. That's what I want to happen in the future.
So do you think abortion is murder?
I do not. I do not. I think third trimester is. I do not think first and second is. And the reason
Abortion is a very wide range.
it is correct. So yes,
Heartbeat doesn't matter. Deesophageated with mother doesn't matter.
if you want to fight this peace, you can. You're not going to convince me to change my policy, right? You're just not. You're not going to convince me to change my policy. Even if I believe that abortion was murder, I still wouldn't change my policy. Be very clear. Even if I did, I do not. But even if I did, I still wouldn't change my policy because my policy is meant to lessen abortions and to respect women. That is my policy, to do those two things. Lessen abortion and respect women, and specifically poor women. Whenever you do any type of prohibition to include alcohol, cannabis, abortion, any prohibition, the people who are punished the most are always poor women. Every single time. Guaranteed. You thought you prohibition drugs, who gets punished? Poor women. They're the ones on the streets. They're the ones being punished every single time. I know my mom was a poor woman. I don't want to punish poor women. So I hope I at least answer your question. I know we disagree. With respect, I hope, my friend. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Look at you. You shut the room down, dude. Go ahead, please.
I was looking for the name of your exact policy on your website, but I know you have an idea using a new real estate coin.
Yes, yes,
But,
yes.
yeah.
What I want to do is I want to create what I talk about all the time. One of the most important things I've changed, new policy, I should say, since 2018. In 2018, we were at about $180 billion. So we were $180 billion in our budget. Now we're at $220 billion, and more people are leaving like there's no tomorrow. Just last month, almost 6,000 New Yorkers changed their license from New York to Florida. Just 1 month, just Florida. That's 200 a day, just Florida. That didn't count Texas, Tennessee, North Carolina. They're leaving in droves, and our budget keeps going up. So we've got to find another way to raise money. And people say, well, Larry, don't you want to lower taxes? I don't. What? I don't. I want to eliminate certain taxes. If you lower a tax, the next guy or gal will just raise them again. If you eliminate a tax, it's a whole lot harder to put that tax back into play. So I want to try to eliminate certain taxes, and it's a whole lot harder to reinstate a tax versus just raise it or whatever the case may be. So how do we do that? By finding other ways of raising money. And that is a trust, what I call the NIST, the New York State Social Trust, the NIST. It's similar to what we do right now in Singapore, in Norway. It's a trust that raises money. These two countries, who are small countries, have $1 trillion in their trust. People go, wow, you know, these countries like Norway and Singapore, they have such socialistic tendencies. They're socialist countries. Yeah, because they have a capitalist, you know, piece right here, a bank base that has $1 trillion in it. Socialism is awesome when you add capitalism. Then it's great. Just add capitalism. Socialism is awesome then. So that's what they do. They add capitalism to create socialism. Well, you want to help some people out? Let's raise money with that kind of trust. That trust. The trust gets back a dividend, and you can buy in it and actually spend from it using a coin. That's how you would use it, right? And we can call it the Yorkie for New York. That'll be the name of the coin. You can call it the Yorkie. You can start using the Yorkie if you want to locally. Now, here's the reality. Any type of coin like that, legally, it can only work if it's a state coin, right? Legally right now, if the state creates any type of coin and it's used outside of New York State, that's against the law. If a state creates a coin only in the state, that is actually legal. There's some finagling, but you can do it. Certain states actually have their own currency. I think South Dakota has its own currency, and I think Nevada has its own currency. They have based on gold. This is not based on crypto. This is based on gold. So I'll be based upon the NIST. So yes, we can do that. You can create your own currency, make that thing happen, absolutely. And of course, raise enough money within the first 2 years to pay for all schooling across New York State. If you pay for education across New York State, there's no need for school tax. School tax literally goes away. If school tax goes away, the average homeowner is going to drop their property tax by about 50%. Imagine a 50% drop in your property tax. Huge change. You might actually stay here. You might not move away. You might stay. More people retire here. I like that. I want people retiring in New York State. Look, you spend your X number of years, you earn your pension. Why are you spending it in Florida? Why are you spending it in North Carolina, in Tennessee, Texas? Spend it here. And I'm not mad at you if you do it. I get it. We've made a bad situation. Let's make a better state that is more friendly to retirees so they stay here and spend their money here in New York State. Right? So I think that's something we do. We use that. First thing we do is deal with that. We can easily get that off. Within 4 years, maybe 5 years, we can actually then cover the income tax. So we can end the income tax in 4 to 5 years using this also. Yes. Yes. Now, people go, why don't you just lower the income tax? Because the next idiot will raise it. I'm going to eliminate it. Now you got to input an income tax. Now, can it be done? Yeah, but wow, is that a whole lot harder? I'm going to eliminate school tax. Well, can't you implement it again? You can, but it's a whole lot harder. So if we show we can function without these taxes, why would you put them back? That's the goal. Why would you put them back? You wouldn't. So I'm trying to get rid of those things so that people can stay here. Imagine you get rid of the income tax. Every employer is just giving their employees a raise without having to raise any extra money. Everyone gets a raise. Not a bad deal. Now, I'll add one more thing with tax. Once you hit 65 years old in New York State, as long as you have owned a home in New York State for 10 years, your property tax goes down 5% every year to 85. It goes down to 0. Why would I do that? You'll stay in New York, and you'll retire in New York, and you'll spend your pension in New York. But not just that. I will transfer that to your kin if you live with them. You might go, look, I'm older, I'm 75 now, I don't want to own a home. All right, my niece owns a home. Move in with your niece if you want to. She loves you, you love her, go move in with your niece. The niece gets half of that onto her property tax. Why? Larry, now we're losing money. We're not losing money because now he or she is not going to a nursing home, which is paid for by us. Nursing home, and we know how nursing homes work. Ooh. Yeah, thank you. They don't have to go to a nursing home now. Not just that, they're not spending their pension, somebody else is spending it here. Pensions are being spent here, families are staying together, and we're saving money on nursing homes. Win, win, win. I would ask you, what other candidate has a plan like this? None. 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 If you're Kathy Hochul, you get more money, you get more money, you get more money. That's Kathy Hochul. If you're Lee Zeldin, more cops. That's it. That's their plan. I have an actual plan. Guys, thank you so much for that. Remember, write in Larry Sharpe. Thank you all. Thank you.